give more returns. Get more security and more interest on your fixed deposits from Sri Lanka's largest finance company, LOLC Finance.
It's your responsibility. Clean up. Be mindful of others who share the same spaces. Refresh Sri Lanka for a civic-minded society. In association with AICPA and CIMA, CA, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka, and 99X. LMD, the voice of business.
Display your brand message on digital screens at prime locations. The largest digital advertising network in Sri Lanka. Emerging media.
Take Light 87 on the go with our mobile app.
It's what I want to hear.
Just search Light 87 in the App Store or Google Play right now.
87.8 and 87.6 island-wide. Light 87.
Good evening. Welcome to LMDtv, and I'm Fazmina Imamudeen. Joining with us tonight is Keerthi Gunawardane. It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
The SME sector was hard hit by the pandemic lockdowns and curfew quarantines. What reliefs granted by Budget 2023 have been most welcome, and what are your comments and inputs regarding the implementation of those proposals?
Thank you. When you go to the budget, out of the budget, I do not really see very big reliefs granted out of the budgets for the SMEs. There are some good, nice proposals which we can welcome. Example, promoting export-oriented economy, enhancing access to the global markets, environment, sustainability, and digitalization. You know, those are very good areas that someone could appreciate. Then there was another proposal, new economic zones for promotion of international trade. That was good. And there was another one to improvement of local infrastructure, logistic infrastructure. That was one of the good moves. But the issue what I see is no very clear-cut way forward to implement these proposals. And with regard to the the question you asked, after the pandemic, all the SMEs are in very difficult situation. There is no low-cost financing methods was introduced, but as it is, moratoriums has gone, the extensions were over. Now it is again time. The bankers are requesting the loan takers to pay their loans. So therefore, it is little hard, but we have to look at low-cost financing methods very soon.
What challenges do you foresee in the year ahead for exporters, and what would your advice be to face them?
The biggest issue will be increasing cost of production. This is happening in Sri Lanka drastically, but this is a global phenomenon too, because all over the world, the cost is going up. So the challenge for the businesses is to how to reduce the cost. Then the next thing is how to improve the productivity. So this means with the least amount of inputs, how you can achieve your productivity is right now the biggest challenge for all businesses. When you look at the exporters, they have to, I think, in Sri Lanka, they have to look at, more locally grown raw materials and things like that, because after the COVID, we learn a good lesson that if you too much depend on the imported raw material, your production can come down. You will have enormous disruption to your production. So that is there. But even these, not only for Sri Lanka, even the countries like Australia, Japan, they have realized that their production lines completely came to a stop during that time. So therefore, everyone now think of doing something on their own, and use their local raw material for their production, which can be very viable as well as reliable.
What words of wisdom would you share with the prospective exporters and young entrepreneurs?
Now the challenge is what other strategies can use to stay ahead of the competition. So these are the thing. Even if you're any exporter or any young entrepreneur, whoever who wants to start business, today, these are the things that they have to look at. Then one other area is reducing the carbon emissions, reduce carbon footprint, how your production can be carbon neutral. Then from the other side, the production process changes, new innovations. As an example, using Industry 4.0 techniques. Today in the world, many companies or even the startups, they are looking at production, or rather they are producing something at the most optimum level. To do this, you need a greater reduction of the cost, environment concerns, and things like that are very vital. But if we promote in Sri Lanka the Industry 4.0 techniques, use of new technology, reduce their energy cost, all that will be addressed within that. So that will be something good, I believe, for the that's the kind of wisdom that I have to share with the exporters and the young entrepreneurs.
The recent budget emphasizes the need to ensure accessibility to financial resources for SMEs. What would you highlight as priorities in terms of securing financial inclusivity for entrepreneurs?
We need development banks. Sadly, we have only commercial banks and no development banks right now in Sri Lanka. So this is very essential for a country to progress and country to develop. When you're talking innovation, young entrepreneurs, all these guys, they have good business ideas only. They do not have capital. So where do you get the capital? If you go to a commercial bank, number one question will be raised from their side will be, where's the collateral? Where's the collateral for a guy, young guy, who's just passed out from the university or, done something technical, have some very good ideas for business? So they need support from these institutions. That is where the development banks are necessary for a country. Unless and until we have some development banks in place, this has been on discussion table many years, many budgets, many forums, this was addressed, but never happened to make a reality. So until we have this kind of low cost capital, it's very hard for anyone to start business. Because when you're starting a business, it is not, we are talking sometimes IT kind of a business. Certain businesses you can do without much of a capital. There is no equipment that you have to buy, maybe a computer, laptop or something like that, and you can start your business. But there are businesses, it depends on the business idea. If there is if there is an innovation or if a new idea to bring it to business, then there is capital is required definitely. So this capital has to come at a very affordable price. This is very, very essential. Then if we have development banks, their mandate is to promote innovations, new business, new technology, and things like that. And of course, now the World Development Banks goes beyond that, achieving sustainable development goal in addition to the monetary success. So to do all that, we need definitely development banks. If we go with the commercial banks, they will look at only the commercial side. So they will look at how much money they will make end of the day. So there is no sense in developing industries, developing something for a country. So that is not in their mandate. So therefore, it's very, very essential that we should have some good development banks.
If local SMEs are to look at global markets, what aspects should they focus most on to increase their competitiveness on the world stage?
As I mentioned before, also, if they have to be competitive in the global market, then the number one criteria should be they should try to source the raw material locally. We have many raw materials, various chemicals, many minerals we have, which we have not explored. Sometimes even if we export those, we export in bulk form. There is no value addition, and we are getting a very, very low price there. So that is something that the entrepreneurs has to think that how can you source your materials locally. But if you if you take the garment industry, what you do is major part is important and added some value and send it back again. So this is difficult. The next thing what you can do is we can develop the local industries to support the existing industries. Example, if we are talking about garment industry, then the required material for that, then the yarn, then the various kinds of material required for various things should be able to produce locally. But if we cannot produce that, so there is a big challenge. And the next thing that I would like to highlight is the local innovations. You can't be doing things the way all the time it was happening. You can do things differently and reduce your cost, bring in more innovations, bring in more value additions to the products. Now today, the entire world is looking at green products. Like if you can add, more value by adding more greener products, so then there will be a demand all over the world.
What would you have considered for inclusion in addition to what has been announced in the budget to encourage and assist SMEs and exporters? And how would these have been of benefit in the short and long terms?
Actually, that also similar to the previous question I answered, half of that, I believe. Innovative products is one good solution. Then, as I mentioned before, also industry 4.0 techniques to reduce cost is very vital, because the thing is now recent research shown, that the 200 people's work in Vietnam will be equal to 2 people work in Germany. So now even the developed countries, they want to bring back some of the industries which they gave it back, like you call it offshoring. So you find, doing locally is not profitable or rather expensive, and you give it to a place where the economies of scale work, where they can produce at a cheaper price. But after the COVID and after the disruption of total logistic systems during that time, the world realized the value of doing something on your own in your country. But the newer technology will give you ways to produce your raw material or the products what you want in your country at a much lower cost than what it has been done before. Now, for example, Germany is doing Industry 4.0 applications in many different industries. So they go from the conventional ways of doing things to 3D printing, making customized products and things like that. So which are the benefits which I can share with you?
There is a need and drive to create a sustainable economy in terms of profit and the planet. What is the role that SMEs should play in creating a greener economy?
Today, all businesses should look at creating greener products to basically achieve the sustainable development goals. Most of us has pledged by 2030 that we will realize the sustainable development goals. If we are going to work towards that, we should look at the 3 Ps very seriously. That means the triple bottom lines we have to look at: profit, planet, and people. Because what happens is, if you're doing a business, you should create profit for the people. Because if you're not creating profit in your organization, you become a charity. So you do not start businesses to do charity. So what you do is, you're starting a business to make profit. Profit will take your organization to a higher level. So you can do innovations, you can do new modifications to your production lines, you can go in for newer technologies. All that can be possible if this happens only. So there, the profit is very important. Then the planet. Now today we are talking everything what you do should not harm the planet. So that's the basic principle when you're doing business. Now I've been a printer. So the good old days we have been printing. Printers are sometimes great kind of polluters during that time. But we changed completely over the years, because anyone, if he wants to import from us or rather buy from us, if you want to think of exporting, so then you have to produce green products. Then you have to say that you're a carbon neutral company. You have this kind of initiatives to bring down your carbon footprint. These are the very essential things today in doing a business. Then from the other side, you have to look at reducing waste. So now every business today, waste is treated as, unlike those days, you cannot waste anything right now. Waste is a waste, that means money. So you're increasing your production cost. And the next thing is, you can reuse, recycle, and reuse. These are the possibilities. Now, for an example, if you're using a lot of water for your production, example, paper mill. So they need to use a lot of paper, a lot of water. So when you're using water, you have to see, rather than just taking water and wasting, or rather taking, cleaning back and taking for your own production. If this kind of techniques being used in business, they'll be treated as good companies. And in the future, I'm sure this kind of practices will add value, definitely. And their products will be worldwide accepted. And there will be a tendency, there will be a momentum to buy such products from such manufacturers. So therefore, all supply chains they will look at the people who's producing greener products in the world. So therefore, whatever you do, you have to look at the triple bottom line and do it. Today, it is not possible for you to just think, I do my business, I don't care about the earth. So we have to think about the planet. We have to see the next future generations, the next set of people in our country. We do not harm anything for them to use the same resources we have been using.
In your view, what is the impact of Sri Lanka's prevailing brain drain on SMEs? What are your thoughts on retaining local talent at home?
That's a tough question, good question. Brain drain, I would say, the biggest cost to any economy. There's no doubt, especially a country like Sri Lanka. We are a country, we have free education, free higher education, free health. All those, we give it free to, like I'm a product of free education. I've gone to a local university, so I passed out. So now I come and do business. So technically, there is another set of people, they go to the state and, they work as the big officers in the government. All of us has a moral responsibility that, we should see that, we do the best for the country. And I'm very sad to mention, on consecutive years, all the labor ministers in this country, why do you want a labor minister to a country? To look after the interest of the labor. So what are they doing? They're trying to send the people out from Sri Lanka. But if that is the case, why do you want such ministers? So these very critical. I've been critical on this one. If you go to the immigration department, I stay in Kotte. I see how much people are around the passport office to take passports. All these guys are trying to just migrate. Now just imagine, from the birth up to a higher level of education, governments spend the money. Then after that, we are giving this the developed brains to another country to prosper. But is that what we want today? Well, we have to completely convert this one and see that, every organization, every citizen of this country try to see that, you keep all your people who's educated in Sri Lanka. Now, in a recent meeting, I found, the IT sector, they have a huge complaint. Most of the IT experienced people are leaving the country. Now, some IT companies, they cannot even do their work which they undertook, because simply when experienced person leave organization, it is very hard to train another person immediately. It takes long time. It's a process. So therefore, brain drain, I would say, the biggest damage to a country, the biggest loss to a country. So therefore, we somehow keep our people here and see that, they are the improvement of their jobs and upskill them, make them somehow see that, they make better money than what they have been doing. So this is the way forward. And another side of the story. Now we find so many young guys are three-wheeler drivers. What is the meaning to this? I do not see any meaning. So we fought with the government during that time when this was taking place as chamber leaders. Please stop this. Put a higher age limit to drive three-wheelers. If someone is retiring and driving a three-wheeler, that's a different story. But all the young guys now, as it is about 1.2 million people, driving three-wheelers. What is the kind of, the value they are creating for our economy? Are they creating a big value? There isn't. These are the people who would have worked in the factories, who would have worked in good companies to produce something good in Sri Lanka to export. So now when you lose the labor, even suppose if we come out of this crisis and if we are doing good, I do not see any reason we should do again bad, because already we have gone up to the bankruptcy. So we should do something, this situation to improve. So suppose if we improve, and suppose if we make our country good and, investor friendly, all that, will the investors will come to Sri Lanka, to a country where there is no labor? That's a big challenge, that we have to make sure. First thing, we have to stop that happening. Take all efforts to see that they have some suitable job in Sri Lanka, create opportunities for them, and see that they absorb by the industry and do it. And one other thing is the tertiary education. So which has gone down dramatically in Sri Lanka. So these is another area that we have to improve and see. The people who could not get through their O levels, A levels, forget that. Not going to the university is not end of your life. Still, you can give a good start with good tertiary education. You can be a professional on a separate line. You can have equal status of your graduation by NEQ levels going up and up. So these are the possibilities. These are the things that, we have to educate the younger generation in this country.
LMD's campaign titled Refresh Sri Lanka was launched to encourage a mindset change for a more civic-minded society. What would your focus areas be, especially from the perspective of representatives of commerce and industry, to inspire a society that looks after the well-being of others?
Your LMD initiative is very good. We have to create people to think right first. Respective parents, elders, and all in your village, city, in your country, and even beyond. You have the number one thing what is needed is the mutual respect, which we do not see that's happening in Sri Lanka. Because these are paramount important items. So in your initiatives also, do first thing first. Make a just society, make a respectable society in the first place. That's the most important thing that we should do. And the law of the country, like starting from the road rules. See, when you go to another country, you go to Singapore, how nicely they travel on the road, how nicely they stop when there is a yellow light and a red light, how nicely the small children crossing the road without meeting with any accidents. Is any of their parents going behind the children to send them to the Montessori in Singapore? No, because they are safe. They all abide by the law. And of course, in Sri Lanka, one big other disadvantage is some set of people trying to do the rule properly. Some are not doing it. Now, this common rules in a country should be common from the president downwards to everyone. They cannot violate the rules. These are the basics. Now, Lee Kuan Yew once said this. You first implement your road rules first. To one Sri Lankan Prime Minister, he mentioned this. Once you do that and see everyone practice that, automatically things will move on the right direction. That is true. That I know. I've been visited to Singapore for very, very long years before. So I saw a change in the Singapore society. Every day when I went there about 20, 30 years back, I started going there. So that's the time that they were third world country and start going to the first world level. So they achieved that because simply it was possible because everyone was doing according to their law and, abide by the law. I feel, one other thing that your initiative LMD, that's very good. Even I spoke to some of our chamber members, not only my members, from the other chambers also. We should create this because what happens is we cannot wait until someone comes and create something in our country. Because if you're doing business, are you doing business in the right way? This has to be taught. If someone is doing something wrong, we have to become a group where we are forcing them, do the right thing or to highlight them. So if this happens, I'm sure there is a possibility that you can make this country a better place. Now, there is no any other bad time as we are today, because right now, after April 12th, we are a bankrupt place. So now it is that, bottom, we have to go up. So going up on the right way is the right thing to do right now, because there is no any other way. So if we are not going to be disciplined in the first place, we cannot do anything. Again, we will make the same mistake we have been doing all the time. So therefore, it is very important, every citizen of this country to think, that you're not legally, but you're morally responsible. So that responsibility, every person in the country, every chamber in this country, every media organization in this country, if they go on the same track, same way, I'm sure that we can go in at the right direction.
Any closing thoughts you would like to share with our audience?
I think I said many things. I will finally try to conclude with Albert Einstein once said, "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything." I think we have to be that group now, because if we do that, together we can do many things. So if we do, I'm sure that we can bring this country, rather we can move this country forward. I think LMD and all of us should act as changing agents and do appropriate changes in Sri Lanka, doing the right thing, and motivate others also to follow the most suitable and sustainable way to do their businesses. That's my last thought.
Thank you. SMEs are a sector that is hard hit by the black swan effect that the country has been experiencing, and your advice and suggestions are timely and invaluable. Thank you, Keerthi.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And, I hope, this kind of programs will motivate people to do the right things. Thank you.
That's all from us. Good night.
Good night.
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you for watching and stay safe.